So we have a distinguished guest faculty with us, Ms. Mukta Mahajani. She has really a vast experience and diversified kind of profile. She has done her graduation with psychology, then did her post-graduation in law, LLM. Then she went abroad and she has worked for a long time with a number of MNCs. And then she thought that a lot needs to be taught for communication and negotiation. That's why she has come out with this book, Let's Talk. That is about communication and negotiation skills. But it's more on negotiation side because those are the skills I think not taught much in the class. So she's taking a lot of effort not only to write the book, also come to us and really deliver very interesting sessions. So for your morning batch, like there was one session in the last week, so she is kind enough to have come 2 times for us, deliver for the second batch also. So without taking much time, I would request her to start.
Thank you, Mr. Okay, so today I'm going to concentrate more on strategies for business negotiations, and by business negotiations I don't mean that you come to a table and you have a problem and you say, okay, this is the first thing I do, this is the second thing I do. How do I resolve this problem? Pick up the book and you look at, okay, problem 1 is resolved this way, problem 2. No, this is about having an awareness that the moment you enter your organization, the moment you enter your office, you are negotiating and you are communicating. This is not your home. This is not your university. These are not your best friends. And there's nobody there who's going to absorb your mistakes beyond the point. So this book, the USP of this book is that this is not about giving you answers when there are problems. These are to give you answers to avoid major problems. To be able to look good, to be able to present yourself well, to be able to speak well, and to be able to have as simple and as easy a possible way in getting along and getting a project work done. Top leaders including Mr. Goenka, Mr. Kharavkar, Mr. Natarajan and Honorable Minister, Mr. Pawar, Mr. Patel have ratified this book, and they have also given advanced reviews in the book. The book was declared a bestseller within 11 days of publication. You will not find these techniques anywhere in India, and these number of techniques and communication techniques and negotiation techniques are present in the book. The book was released on December 14th, 2012, and on Christmas Day I got a very nice Christmas present saying that it's become a national bestseller. So I'm very pleased about that. Okay, your morning batch clapped for me when it became a bestseller. Yes, thank you. Alright, jokes apart. Let's talk in discussions today. We'll have definitions, a little bit about negotiation, Chanakya, importance of let's talk, techniques in practice, examples, and disadvantages. I was just going to say, why are you sitting over there? You should be sitting in front so the camera can see. All the women who are over here should be in the front row and up in center. Right? So, you should be front row. Get up and go there. Come sit over here. So, anyways, to be on the same page as everybody, what is negotiation? It is a discussion between 2 or more people aimed to come to an agreement. And what is communication? Successful transfer of information from one to the other. I'm not taking communication up here right now because I think negotiation is more important for you guys. Now, when I say that negotiation is a discussion between 2 people aimed at coming to an agreement, aimed at coming to an agreement does not mean that one person bombards the other into an agreement. It doesn't mean one person spends a lot of time convincing the other person to come to an agreement where the other person is unhappy with the outcome, where the other person has compromised to give in to you, where the other person has left the room feeling a little boss, you know, okay, they wanted something, I gave it. It's my good karma, whatever. That is not the meaning of good negotiation. Good negotiation and facilitating an agreement means that you both are on the same page. That you and your colleague or your friend both get something out of this discussion. You both are happy with the outcome of whatever it is you both want. Whether it be finalizing a meeting, whether it be going to a certain place, whether it be a project discussion, whether it be how to communicate something to somebody else, whatever. So basically, let's talk these executive guidelines to deal with simple internal office conversations turned negotiations. External office conversations turned negotiations. Internal office conversations are not as easy as you think. They are those that you have with your boss, you have them with your immediate superior, you have them with your colleagues, and you have them with the secretaries of your department and any other workers who come in your first line of work, who you deal with the moment you set foot into office as a new person. External office conversations also belong to your office, but they belong to people from another department. So for example, you are in marketing and you have to go to somebody in R&D, or you are in, say, the legal department and you have to go to finance. So obviously you guys belong to the same organization, but you have different priorities, your bosses are different, your budgets are different, your goals are different. But for a third party, an outsider, you both have to come together to work, to be able to put up a united front for an outsider. That means external office conversations. Okay, we all negotiate every day. We just are not aware of the fact that we are in a negotiation. We negotiate with our family, we negotiate with our friends, we negotiate with our bike, कितने बजे आएगा, कब आएगा, हमारा पगार काटेगा, टाइम पे नहीं आया तो, अच्छा आएगा ना टाइम पे, छुट्टी चाहिए, क्यों चाहिए, whatever it is. You go to your सब्जी वाला, कितना पे देगा, you know the प्याज के भाव तो पता है ना आजकल, how much you have to negotiate for these things. ठीक है आधा किलो दो भैया, 1 किलो मत दो. अच्छा ये तो इतना में थोड़ा और डाल के दो ना एक, उसमें क्या जाता है तुम्हारा? How much we negotiate? It's a day-to-day thing. Nobody gets up and just hands money out of your pocket and says, okay, whatever you say, I'm giving you. So, what does one do when one is doing that? You approach with tact. You do market research. You look at where something is cheaper. You look at the cost of time, the cost of convenience. Perhaps you concede where time is money. With family, you give and take, correct? You don't run completely roughshod over your family and say, I want this or else, I want that or else. No, your family means a lot to you, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your chachas. They mean a lot to you. You will handle it with care if you want to save the relationship. So your office negotiations, even though you're getting paid to do a job, are not that different. Why? Because you're all people, okay? You're not somebody different in your office. Yes, you're trying to be more professional. You are approaching something with knowledge and not emotion. You are approaching something after a lot of hard work, a lot of study, a lot of care. But you are still a person, and the individuals in front of you are also people who come with emotions. They come with their own experience, they come with their own background knowledge. And they are ultimately what? Like your neighbors, like people who you have to deal with tact and care. And you may feel, oh damn this person, I do not like my boss. Fine, but you have to get along with your boss. You may like the company you work for. You may want a promotion in that company. How does it help you to burn out with acidity by saying, I don't like my boss? And getting stuck on that point and not being able to perform at work. Not being able to do well at work. Negotiation is not a newfound concept. Negotiation is not something which is like a new medicine come in the market. Your hair will grow so long, so beautiful, you look fair and lovely, you look like snowman, you'll become so fair. You'll just apply this, you've never heard about it before, but go for it. It's not like that. Negotiation is packaged today. Do you know it was packaged since Chanakya's time? Chanakya's complete book on management has negotiation. It has strategy. And from that time, we are learning the art of dealing with people. Dealing with people is a learned skill after a point. Dealing with people to get the result that you want is a learned skill, and it is doable. To play fair and to win is a learned skill, it is doable. It is like an accounts course where you learn new techniques you don't know anything about before. Similarly, speaking, communicating, negotiating, they are actually skills that you pick up through learning that help you get to where you want to get. So, two definitions. Always remember that peace is always more important. And with a competitor, you always need to think, plan, and then make a move. So basically, as I have been saying, it is all about strategy. It is all about one little thing, fitting jigsaw piece, knowing which piece fits in where, or being able to create that piece to fit into that jigsaw. So that even if it is the most Herculean of tasks, even if it is the most impossible of people, somebody is being over antagonistic, somebody is being over emotional, somebody is being impatient, somebody is being unkind, or somebody is just being plain damn rude. There are skills to deal with everything. And one thing I would say here is that, you guys have already won, You guys are in an institution people apparently commit suicide to get into. You are in a place where top MNAs and top MNCs only want people from these schools. Like they only want people from Ivy League schools. So you have already won half the battle. You're already in a place where you can contribute tremendously with your skill. But that is only going to get you a job. That won't get you popularity and won't get you a promotion. You cannot wave your educational flag, this is my personal experience, you cannot wave that flag forever and forever and say, I want this treatment, I want this package, I want this project, I want this first place with the boss sitting next to him, I want to organize this, why have I not been given the Plum project to go to London? Why was I sent to Lonavala and so person here, not even gone to IIT, gone to some school here and there. Why is it that he got sent to London? Why the heck is this guy the boss's favorite? I should be the boss's favorite. I have worked so hard to get here. You get frustrated, you get angry, you get upset because right now you're king and queen bees, okay? Whether it be in your organization or whether you go outside and you say that, oh my God, I study here. But in the real world, it doesn't work like that. You have to be able to get along with everybody, especially people you don't like. So why let's talk? When we were in school and college, we're told all these things. अरे पूछो भाई, सवाल पूछो, उसमें क्या है? सवाल पूछने में क्या जाता है? Intelligent दिखोगे, you look so strong. Intelligent दिखोगे तुम बहुत capable दिखोगे. तुम्हें initiative क्या है? तुमने इतने सवाल पूछे भाई. Ask questions. Say मुझे ये अभी सीखना है. ये मुझे अभी मुझे बताओ. I am so eager. I am so keen. See, maybe your professors, I don't know, maybe your professors might appreciate that attitude, and it is the right attitude to have in a school or college or university or in your apprenticeship or whatever. People will be so sick of you in your job, you have no idea. ये कितना बकता है यार. अरे तू चुप बैठ ना बाबा, ना सवाल पूछता है. And only somebody who's kind will say that to you. Another person will simply just run away. अरे ये आ गई फिर से, बाप रे बलवती भागो यहाँ से, you know, कुछ पूछने के लिए आई है. So these are very small things which you have to keep in mind when you. So what happens when you have all these questions? You go to a friend, or you go to an immediate superior, or you go to your boss, or your immediate senior colleagues, or you go to your mentors. If you have any, most places don't have mentors actually, but somebody you rely on. If you're lucky, and most people are not, I wasn't. One of these people might help you couple of times, you know. थोड़ा सा guidance दिया, देखो नया है, अभी you know your first month is the so-called honeymoon period in office. ठीक है जाने दो भैया उसको, समझा दो, explain to him whatever it is, you know. What happens is that eventually people get tired. Now one of the women in my book is a woman called Ankita, okay? And for example, let's take Ankita or Ankit, okay? You don't mind, right? If I just pick you, you don't have to do anything. Don't worry, okay? Or and you go to office for the first time. You come from a great business school, not nice, but a decent business school. You worked very hard. You've come to office. Your boss is traveling, okay? And he's an extremely busy man who's like away all the time. He has handed you over to his secretary, a lady called Jaya, who has been told to introduce you to the people who are going to get you started on work. And say you're Ankit, and you're in the same position, you're Ankita, you're Ankit, whatever. And you go in, and first day you get up early, you have breakfast, and you wear your best clothes, and your clean shirt, and your beautiful dress, and you go in, and you're like, yes, Miss Jaya, I'm so and so, and such a pleasure to meet you, and you say all the right things, and you get to work, and Jaya is very nice to Ankit and Ankita. Jaya is accommodating. She introduces Ankita to the right people. She introduces her to the important people in the office, to her desk, her wherever her stuff is to be needed, who's going to meet the superior, gives her the first project to do, everything. Now, Ankita and Ankit go home that evening, very content. Jaya is so nice. She is an amazing person. She is so helpful. In their mind, oh my God, Jaya is my new best friend, In this office, it is one friend I have made. Please put your phone on silent, whoever it is. There's one person who's my best friend, that is Jaya. Next morning, the boss calls, Ankita, have you settled in? And so on and so forth. You've met your boss barely 3 or 4 times. A couple of months have passed. Your work is going decently. You're settling in. You have your guard is down. Okay? For yourself, your guard is down. What happens to Ankit and Ankita? Okay? Now, suddenly Ankit and Ankita, who are working in Bombay, get a phone call from their hometown. Guess what? Their mother, his or her mother calls and says, your 50-year-old sister has finally found love. She's getting married. You have to come home. Ankit and Ankita are absolutely out of this world happy. A 50-year-old sister has finally found the man of her dreams. She's finally getting married. Finally her vanvas or whatever is over, So with great, this thing joy, you go to your boss's office and what does the boss say? Have you lost your mind? Get out. You're not getting any leave. So you have gone from here to here. I hate my boss. I misunderstood my boss. He's the devil in disguise. 2 days leave I asked for my 50-year-old sister and I can't get it? How dare he? After that time, Ankit and Ankita are simply unable, they miss the wedding, okay? And Ankit and Ankita are simply not able to get on the same plane as the boss. They are not able to see eye to eye because they are not able to view their boss with any kind of equanimity, any kind of even-minded behavior, simply because they continue to be upset. So what happens? What happens? What can Ankita or Ankit do to be able to get over these negative feelings that they have? It was not the boss's fault, okay? So Ankita and Ankit want to go crying to the secretary. She has no time for them either. Because Ankit has spent so much time in those last 2 months hassling the secretary for give me this, give me that, I can't find this, I can't find that. Oh, you're just the secretary. You are not supposed to have any feelings or emotions or pride. The secretary is actually the most important person in the organization, equal to the boss where you are concerned. The secretary knows more about the organization than you ever will. And just because she is somebody who is below your pay grade does not mean you respect her less. You respect her more. Anybody who has been in the organization longer than you have, you automatically give them respect. It does not matter who that person is. What is the end result? Suddenly the boss, being a very fair man, calls Ankita, I'm just going to go back to Ankita to the office and says that there is a project in Delhi. You have to work with the northern counterparts on a tender. They have chosen some tenders and we have chosen some tenders. Final discussions have to happen on choosing the last 3 tenders. You have only 24 hours in hand to finish this. Sudden situation. Ankita is very happy that she has got this chance and the boss seems to have, he seems to still like her, which is so important to employees, to be liked. So, my boss still likes me, I have to work really hard. You have to spend from 10 in the morning to 5 tomorrow morning till your flight, collating information from all the senior people in the western region of your office for their views on which tender they prefer, where the deciding tender goes. You then have to have this 10-page note typed out and have it ready to fly with you to Delhi. You go to Jaya and you say, I'm getting all the information in. As it comes in, I'm going to email it to you, type it out. I want to leave office by 5:30. Jaya says, I don't have time to do this. Along with being the boss's secretary, I also report to 3 other people. I'm busy helping them. The boss's phone is switched off. There is no point, believe me, complaining to your boss at a point like this. You just look stupid. You can't convince the secretary. You rant, you rave. But you have to help me, this is important. I am not telling you to do this. It is not my work. It is the boss's work. It is the boss who wants you to do this. I will tell the boss. Okay, go tell the boss. See if I care. You're panicking. It's 4 o'clock. Comments are coming in fast and furious from the entire western region. How are you supposed to make head or tail of those comments? How are you supposed to put them down on a piece of paper coming to 10 pages, collate it, read them, understand which is the best tender, choose one for yourself, and then fly out to Delhi. As a last resort at 4 p.m., you go to the vice president's secretary and say, listen, can I have a word with you? Yes. She's a very nice person and she's very stable, very even keel. And you say, look, this is my problem. Even if I sit and start typing now, how am I going to finish all this work? I have to get other things done. Can you please tell Jaya to sort it out? And you say, no, I can't. I can't get involved in your personal problems with somebody else. You need to find a way to re-establish your relationship with her so you don't come into a problem when the time comes. So what happens? How this brilliant project has come into Ankita's hands. She can't talk to her boss. She's not able to finish her work on time. The comments are half done. She's in a panic mode. This is her first job, her first outstation project. And believe me, even if you think that, oh, Mukta's saying all this, and she's talking, I can do this, that, this, that, this, that. You are in a sitting duck position. If there is nobody in the organization to help you, you are in a sitting duck position. You cannot do anything alone. So, what can Ankita do? What can she do to repair her relationship with the people in her office so she doesn't face this kind of a situation again? Always remember that people are different from the issues you have with them. Your boss is not your uncle or aunt or your mother or father. Okay? He is your boss. It's a business relationship. There is no need to get personal about it. Your relationship with his secretary is one which is also a business relationship. But that doesn't mean that she cannot be your friend, or that she cannot be a valued colleague, or you have to treat her badly because she's a secretary, or you have to get emotional. Everybody has bad days. You have bad days too. You do not have the right to judge somebody else because they are being a certain way. It doesn't mean that you cannot dislike people. It doesn't mean you cannot have issues with people. But the idea of telling you this is to say that you are able to keep your emotions and feelings about these people separate from the work that you have to do with them. So keep an open mind towards long-term relationships. Remember, if you have negative feelings, you need to find ways through some techniques to minimize them. To find ways in which you can put them aside. Not rationalize them in a wrong way, but to figure a way to put them aside to get along with the person. Because see, what happens is that, like I just said, you soon start negotiating. You have many requests. And what happens eventually? You want something, right? You go into a room because you want something. Human beings are inherently selfish people, okay? We all do something because we want something, we want the best for ourselves, we want the best for what we think is the best. And if your path is easygoing, that's fine. But more likely, you might find it tense. And we are all like that, aren't we? We all do something with a purpose. And we all do something because we have an internal mission of our own. And if we do something without a purpose or without a mission, we label it social service. We label it seva. We say, oh look, I give 2 hours of my valuable time on a Saturday doing something without asking for anything in return. What about all the other time? What do you do then? Along with earning, which is top priority, you're forgetting about the human beings. You're only doing yourself as somebody who deserves the best. What about the person in front of you? All of you have got the capacity to become leaders. All of you have got that in you to become top management. What do all management gurus today talk about? EQ, emotional quotient. What does negotiation and communication come under? It comes under EQ. It doesn't mean having a 4.0 average and knowing that you are the best person to run the company. Are you the best person to lead your employees? Are you the best person to work with your employees? And that is what they will look at when they judge you as a leader. You know, Gandhiji, nobody talks about him as a lawyer. You know why? He wasn't a very successful lawyer. That was not his calling. What is he remembered for? So nobody is asking you to become a Gandhiji, but you have 1% of Gandhiji in you that you have to remember when you work, and you get your pay grade, and you get your money, and you make your millions. You do that 1% of remembering where you are, and the people you work with are as important as you are. So you come to a workplace, you have responsibilities, you have home loan repayments. All these things come in the way of making you emotional, making you angry, making you upset. Because see, you may be negotiating with him. You guys may not know each other very well. Maybe you're negotiating together. Maybe you feel, "Arey, isko dekho, what has he seen in life? Do you know how much I had to go through?" Your paths at getting here in your seat may have been far easier than his path, or vice versa. So one is likely to get more angry with the other. अरे भैया तू समझता क्यों नहीं? मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है, पता है मैंने कितना देखा है, पता है. I'm not trying to embarrass you, okay? I can just go pick somebody else. It doesn't matter. But you know how much I have gone through. Don't you understand where I am coming from? What happens then? You have simple problems like Ankita has Vijaya. Ankita can't go for the marriage. She starts hating her boss. So what happens? You can't relate to your co-workers. You start mistaking hierarchy. You make wrong first impressions. You start judging relationships. And you start getting over idealistic and over emotional and over het up about your job. You forget why you're there. You forget all about your dreams about I will go and I will, I'm going to be so good. All that has gone out. You are spending your entire time to and fro from office, and I hate this one, I hate that one, so and so did this, so and so did that. I'm going to make sure this happens, I'm going to make sure that happens. And you will do that. If you think that you are immune to these professional workplace emotions, I think, that's really not true, because you're not immune. You think that because you're able to handle something, school and college and campus life is not the same as work life. It's your first step into real life, where you don't have anybody babysitting you. You don't have anybody protecting you. Believe me, you'll fall hard. Nobody's going to be there to hold your hand at that time. So, what happened? You have spent 2-3 months in the organization, and you already feel you're treated unfairly for coming from IIT. Look how I'm being treated. I'm from IIT. This is not the way I should be treated. I don't think I want to work here anymore. When I had my campus interview, I had very high hopes for this organization. I have heard so many good things about this organization, but I don't think I can work here. I think that they are just two this, that, or the other. And you start having discord. Why? Because you are not able to be on the same page as people there. And you haven't reached your desired goals. So, colleagues are an important part of one's work life. Always remember to make a positive effort on them. And I do not mean being manipulative or being fake. I mean just being decent and yourself. Okay? Whenever you have an important project given to you in your department, you have 3 or 4 other people that you work with. Your secretary will be one of those people. Somebody junior, somebody senior, somebody your level, will all fall. You will not be the queen bee or the king of that project in the beginning. Just remember that. Share information with people. Share your concerns with people. Get along. Go have a cup of coffee with people in your project. Take breaks. Hang out in terms of having lunch sometime. Discuss what issues you will have, what you think works best. Be open to having communication with people in your team. Please don't think that, you are the best things in sliced bread. That your idea is the best because you come from so-and-so school and somebody you met at some party or some function 2 months ago looked at you being a top leader or politician and said, my God, you are going to be the next so-and-so. Please take it in context. Please always take these things, please take praise in context. Everybody's views are important. What everybody says is important. Your own work is not the only thing which matters. over there. Please have patience with people. Perhaps there is somebody in your organization who is not as quick to understand something as you are. Perhaps somebody is very introverted. They don't have the kind of openness that you possess. They have the knowledge, they have the ability, but they are not able to voice it that well. You may wonder, what is this person doing in this organization? Why is this idiot, so-called idiot, even in my team? But you need to have patience with people. And lastly but not least, please don't believe everything you have heard. Supposing you come into an organization, you come into an office, you met somebody and you happen to spend some time with the person, being in the same, coming from the same locality, traveling in the same train. That person says, oh, so-and-so is in your team, arey kya baat hai, maza aayega. And some stupid comments like that. Or this guy, he messed up that project last month. My God, do you know how much work I had to do to get out of it? Listen, people, this is unprofessional, okay? Please never do it. You may go home and tell your sister or your mother or your father something about your workplace, something you want to share. Please don't ever do this kind of behavior in an organization, and if you see somebody else doing it, please don't take it to heart and have it set in your mind to the extent that you cannot listen to the person with an open mind, that you cannot judge the person, judge in the sense understand the person for yourself, because you have come there with this preordained thing in your mind. This person is a fool. This person messed up my friend's project here. I have to be very careful. If any responsibility seems to be going to him, I want to deflect it. You are spending most of the time playing football or tennis or whatever over there. अरे इसको ये बोला करने के लिए, हे भगवान, इसको क्यों बोला ये सब करने के लिए? अभी क्या होगा? अरे इन लोगों को पता नहीं क्या इसने कितना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम किया लास्ट मंथ. अरे actually, you know what? When he leaves the room, I will tell the others. Have you heard what happened last month with this guy? This is highly unprofessional behavior, and please refrain from it. Please refrain from falling prey to it. Your mind is even weaker than in the mind of the person who made the mistake last month, if you are falling prey to this kind of gossip. So, what happens when Ankita realizes that she is getting wrong signals from Jaya the secretary? What happens when she realizes that something is going wrong, because a kind of awareness comes in because she sees the secretary being less friendly? And when she is aware of techniques present that she can use to correct her mistakes or to stop herself from making more mistakes, she is able to get the help she needs. She is able to get commitment, she is able to get somebody like Jaya, who is a very senior person, to be on her side, to help her prepare so she can take off for her project. What have our forefathers always said? How many times have we been told never to judge a book by its cover, never to judge somebody on the basis of what we have been told, or to just imagine something? So when you have techniques present, when you have an awareness, you know how to treat people right. You know how to get the best out of people. You know how you are going to tell people, yes, it's a good experience for them to work with you. Is that not important? It's totally important that you have a good experience working with people. Should other people not have that experience with you? Should they not have a good day after they work the whole day on a project with you? Or it's just all about you? It's not. It's about everybody. Now, Ankita has gone to Delhi. You are Ankita's Western region. You have helped her with your comments for her project. There are senior people in the Western region. She's sitting in Bombay office, talking to you day and night on that last day on the phone, organizing her thoughts, organizing her papers. Now she's come to you guys and she's going to sit, and there are two people from the Northern region who are going to be here. You have one tender in mind, and you have another tender in mind. And Ankita is, has gone to Delhi. You very badly, the Northern region wants to go back to the boss and say that we had chosen the right tender and the entire organization as a whole has picked this tender to go ahead. And what do you know? You want the same thing, correct? You have different bosses. You want to go back and say one thing to your boss. You want to go back and say the same thing in another way to your boss. Also, one thing don't forget, if you two have a fight, if Ankita and her northern counterparts have a fight, it does not mean the bosses are having a fight. They're having a laugh up there, okay? Watching two people not get along and figuring, अरे इनको तो गलती किया इंटर डिपार्टमेंट नेगोशिएशंस के लिए भेज दो, क्या हुआ आईआईटी जाके, तो प्रोजेक्ट नहीं कर सकता तुम, एक टेंडर यू कैन नॉट गेट अप्रूव. What did you go to IIT and do? Are you so high maintenance that you can't get along with somebody from your own office and present a front? That is what somebody who is a victory on the phone is going to think about you. You may think that he or she knows nothing about what is going on, that the secretary and the immediate superior know. No, he knows everything. Your boss, he knows everything. His boss knows everything. And they are watching to see if two newcomers can get along. So you are going there, you are placing all your points over there. Both of you obviously don't agree with each other. What happens? You say, actually, just where did you study? Achha, no, I went to IIT, and I have this experience from here. And in my holidays, I have worked in so-and-so places. What will you say? Yeah, I've actually already been here for 6 months and successfully I have completed this project. Okay, you may have good education. I may have come from a different school as you, but I've actually already been successful in negotiating 2 other projects before you in my office. And I know my boss values me, completely. And it is my project that has to go ahead, my tender that should be chosen. So both of you basically come back and you say that neither tender is chosen, and you have bosses who are going to put on your employee file that a simple inter-department project would not be handled by 2 people. So what happens? What happens when it is A versus B in the same organization? Firstly, you have to remember that you have to keep your organizational picture as a whole in mind. Okay? You are representing an entity. It is not about your department, it is not about you. For example, operating costs might be what your problem is with their tender. Perhaps publicity, or the way things are being done and how the company is going to be showcased in the future is what your problem is with their tender. And you both are stuck there. Neither is able to go forward. What can you do? You have to find a third point. You have to be able to sit together to say what falls in line with company culture. This company has been here in operation at least 25 years. What is the third common thing we can think of? Which tender comes close to being part of what the company culture believes in? So for example, you pick that trade, okay? But to pick that trade, you have to have a calm mind. You have to be able to be quiet within yourself. You have to be able to be not angry to do that and not feel that you are being argumentative and you are being arrogant. And you completely start focusing on your positions as people and not on the issue, the problem in front of you. How can you both resolve the issue of the tender together? So you can go and tell your bosses that we have picked the right tender and we have come to an agreement. I'll tell you something, many times in an office you may find that somebody who is less intelligent than you or less educated than you or better, not so good looking as you is a boss's favorite, okay? And often you'll wonder, hey, kya ho gaya? Aisa kyun hai? Why that person? And in all organizations, pan-India, all bosses want a low maintenance employee. All bosses want somebody who everybody can get along with. They all want somebody jhanjat nahi. चिक चिक नहीं है कोई. Then whether you come from wearing Prada or Chanel or wearing the simplest of second hand, he is not going to care about that. Okay? He is going to see ये बंदे का बराबर चलता है सबके साथ, काम भी कर सकता है. If there is a problem, he knows how to present the problem. He doesn't get angry over emotive. Doesn't start talking absurd things, but places it calmly and quietly to the concerned people. Has tried his or her best to resolve it, could not do it, and then has come to us. That is the person you hate the most because you want to be that person. And you think just your qualifications are going to get you there. I thought that, okay, at one point in my life. It doesn't work. So what happened? What happens? You're getting defensive, you're getting upset, you're positional about your work. You've completely actually forgotten about the tender. You are so agitated in yourself, thinking that I have not had a good day here. This is something unexpected. This is not my fault. They should have been more open. Well, you could have been more open. Perhaps they are also having a bad day. You're not the only one there. So what happened in Delhi? The tender could not be agreed upon. Why? Because the priorities were different. They were the correct priorities. You were right in your place, they were right in their place. But being different, apples and oranges, you could not agree. What could you not get over? You couldn't get over your own ideas. You could not be defensive. Whenever you said something to them, that okay, fine, whatever, just let the person talk and get over it, you know. You had complete closed-mindedness. Maybe they had a point. Maybe they had a point. Unless you listen to each other, a common ground will not be found. Unless you are truly calm and cool. You know how when people are having a fight, some third person says, okay, calm down, okay, just be cool about it, okay? Why? Because then you can genuinely find a third common ground that helps you complete something. See, these people are people who will judge you on your first impression. In your department, your people see you every day. Even if they have thought something on the first day, that will go away from their minds, you know. But the people who you meet in your office, in other departments, they are going to judge you for who you are, the time they meet you. If they don't like your dress sense, the way you look, the way you speak, they will remember that. You know, if you have a fight with them and you have been in the organization longer, you will be left out. Why? Because even if they started the fight, they have more friends than you. And what are they going to go and tell their friends? These people are very close-minded people. Nobody is going to remember that they started an argument or they should have given you a chance because you're a newcomer. They are going to remember only what you said to them, not what they said to you. And what is going to go around your office? When Ankita, who represents the Western region, she is, my God, very difficult to work with. उसके साथ कभी काम मत करो भैया, वो कुछ, she doesn't want to understand anything that you have to say. She just will not listen. When you are the ones who perhaps started by putting Ankita on a defensive note. So, because that person has been there longer, and when you are a newcomer, everybody has been there longer, unless you join with several management trainees. Everybody else has been there longer. See, you will feel life is unfair. You will feel I'm in an unfair position. And learn techniques, learn ways to look good, feel good, speak good. Automatically help you make your impressions. Automatically help you get away half the battle won for you, basically. So, basically you had a bad day and you've not managed to find any kind of arrangement for the projects. We've come back from Delhi to Bombay saying that I failed, I couldn't find a tender to agree on. So what happens? Focus on the issue at hand and not the person who is stating it. Either yourself or the person you are negotiating with. Stay in the present moment and never force something you don't believe in. So while you are trying to focus on what is the problem that they have with your tender, what is the problem you have with their tender, you are allowing each person to speak. You're allowing each person, sometimes take notes. If somebody is speaking for a very long time or they are taking a long time to explain something, try and break down their conversation through points. But unless you genuinely don't take time out to understand why more than financial operatives, something else, the marketing side of that tender is more important to you. Unless you write that down, you won't understand how to find a mid-path in helping each other out. That being said, if push comes to shove and everything you try fails, it does not mean that because you want to show agreement, you get forced into accepting a solution you don't believe in. Instead, ask them to send you an email to Bombay with clarifications as in what exactly is it that is the most important that you cannot agree on, and ask time to revert. CC your bosses in. And at this stage, never ever ask help from somebody who is not involved in the project. You may have worked with that person before. He may have been your project manager before. He may be in Delhi at the same time. He may say to you, "अरे भैया क्या चल रहा है? क्या? What's going on? अभी तुम्हारा हुआ नहीं क्या काम यहाँ तक? अभी अग्री नहीं हुआ टेंडर? क्यों भैया हुआ क्या?" All you do is, not right now. Can we please talk about it later? Or you know how it is. I'm just a little stressed. I'm not able to form the words. Can you just, we'll see about this later. Never ever share information with somebody who is not involved in your work, even if he is in your organization, even if he has worked with you before. That is very important. So all you do at that time, because you cannot reach your superior or you don't know what to, you have no other choice but to catch a flight. You have 15 minutes. Do not get pushed against a wall and try and agree on something that you don't believe in. If in spite of all your efforts you find you're against a wall, just ask for time. Ask for time, make minutes of your meeting and CC them to your superior, your boss and everybody concerned, logically and not emotionally, putting down why in spite of everything, in spite of 6 hours in Delhi, you were not able to reach an agreement. Be unbiased, focus on the problems of the tender. Don't focus on your colleagues in Delhi, don't focus on the welcome you thought you got, and don't focus on your opinion of those people. It is not important what the opinion of the people is. What is important is the opinion they have of the project. And that is what you have to put in your email to your boss. So, when you're able to see through a lot of being positional, being emotional, being untactical, you are able to reach an agreement. And that is what Chanakya has said. Strategize towards goodwill. Think with your head, not your heart, in times like these. So when you think with your head and not your heart, it doesn't mean that you are being cruel or you are being very financial minded or you are being hard-hearted. You are also looking at the good of your department, their department and the company. That is what is meant by strategize towards goodwill. Towards the fact that tomorrow you are in a position to welcome the northern counterparts to Bombay. You have enough of a relationship with them. Oh yes, we met a few months ago on fact tender. Let's go and have a meal together. We'll talk about welcome you to Bombay. Even if you have agreed, you have not agreed, you are able to have a relationship because you all work together over there. That's the second technique. Now finally, I want you to just remember, I'm just taking 5 more minutes. I want you to remember these things. What happens when you become effective negotiators, which is an art of learning and is a process? You get into a state of mind. You get into a state where you're automatically able to present yourself in a certain way. You're automatically able to show yourself in a certain way. What happens then? You can effectively give something small or something big. When you see a certain attitude, you know what the behavior is going to be like, that's going to follow. You yourself as an image of being a guarantor means what? If I say that you have agreed to an idea, and because you are well known for certain skills, everybody says, oh, she has agreed, it must be a good idea. That's like being a guarantor. You have more openness from people who you talk to. Why? Because you show openness to people. And the most important thing is you can think on your feet. And finally, when you are open enough to understand what you want, I can give you more options to buy me time. I can relate to you better. I can tackle power better. And finally, in any organization, your responsibility is not just to make your millions and to become CEOs or CFOs or the big four consultants or whatever. You have to become a mentor to people who are going to be in your position 10 years down the line. You have some social responsibility. Even the Companies Act has been amended in the Rajya Sabha to say that compulsorily companies have to give 2% in CSR. It was 1% earlier. Similarly, you in your fast track paths to go somewhere important must remember to carry well the people who are going with you. So that's pretty much it. Thank you. I'm not. Okay. Sure, what's up?
My question is on negotiating.
Yeah.
So, if there are two persons, so say I'm the one person and one is the opponent. So, we both are having a heated argument. So, we are negotiating for a particular thing. So, now I decide that he is not coming down. So, what should I do to make him to convince? I have to convince him. So, should I continue negotiating, or should I take some other step to?
I think that, like you said, that you are with your colleague or whatever, and you are negotiating, and things have got a little heated, okay? And to a point where he's not backing down and you're not backing down. And you firmly believe that what you want should be the end result. At such a time, I would suggest that you ask your colleague to write down what he wants to say. Whatever oppositions or whatever concerns that your colleague has with what you have put to him or her. Tell him that, listen, I think things are getting a little heated. You're saying one thing, I'm saying one thing. Let me logically understand what you really want to say. Can you write me an email noting down what is the most important thing about this that you want? And let me find a way to see how I can understand it better. This is what you tell him, okay, to understand it better. Because perhaps I'm not getting your point right now. And he will calm down, he will see the importance that you are giving his point of view. Okay, when you get his email, genuinely, okay, try to figure out how can what he wants be fixed into what you want. How can it be merged? If you want something badly, once you read his points without all the emotion and the angry face in front of you, you may find you see some logic in it. And the first scenario is you can see some logic in it and you can merge it along with yours. The second scenario is that you still see no logic in it. And you are in the same position that you were when you were speaking to him. At that point, you write down your own concerns. You call up your colleague and say, can we meet again tomorrow? I've also put down my concerns. and you think we can sit down point by point with each other's concerns. Normally that should solve it. If that too doesn't solve it, then I would say take that to a colleague or superior who is part of that project. And without getting angry or emotional, say that we have been able to sort some points out, but finally it looks like these couple of things we are just not able to come to any agreement on. Can you possibly help us find a way out? And that person with his or her experience probably will be able to help you get that way. My point is this, that sometimes you will have to do that and not straight out be able to win. Straight out be able to say that, if you are able to sit down with your points before approaching a superior and saying that this is what I feel, under these 5 aspects that I have put down, we are winners all the way. And where you are concerned, your 5 points that you have put down, surely we are winners, but not in the certain sense of the way. That person may see reason and you may win. But if the person is just hell-bent on not giving up his or her point because he doesn't want you to so-called win, then logically take it to a third person and say that these couple of things we cannot agree on. What do you think? If your points are genuinely the best points, then you will win. Or you may, for that moment, have to concede and say, okay, fine, let's take this as the agreement point. And when your agreed thing goes to your boss, because at the level where you are starting, it will have to be agreed by somebody else also after you. Alright? When you go to that person will see that you were malleable at the point when you had to negotiate with your competitor or your colleague or your opponent. And that actually might get the boss to give you what you want. And okay, fine, we'll go with your idea. You want this? Chalo, theek hai. Let's do it your way and see what happens. So that way also, by showing malleability in the beginning, you will be able to get what you want, because you showed genuine empathy and genuine understanding and concern for what your colleague had to say. That's what I think.